as important as the results is going to be why they're coming in. All right, because you got to get your understanding of what this election was processed as by Americans in different parts of the country. So let's get perspective on exactly that. Bill O'Reilly, host of the No Spin News. Good to have you, my friend. Corey Lewandowski was just on. He said something that was interesting I want your take on. He said, there are several issues here that have been working well for Donald Trump. However, if the election comes down to a personality contest, he could lose. Harris could do well, he said. What's your interpretation of what that means?
I think it's gibberish. It all has to do with who turns out. So I got a call earlier today from somebody inside the Trump campaign. And I don't do the propaganda thing. We leave that to the network news. And I said, all right, what do you got that's new? What do you got that I don't know? And he said, initially, our exit polling, because the two parties do exit polling themselves, all right, shows that urban turnout is much lower than it was 4 years ago, while rural turnout is higher. Now, that's a harbinger for Trump. If the big cities like Atlanta and Charlotte, North Carolina, if they're not going Democrat the way they did 4 years ago, Trump will win the states. I think Trump will win both states. And your election guy, forgive me, I'm
Scott
old,
Tranter,
so I don't remember his name,
DDHQ.
but he's good. He was absolutely right that if Trump carries Georgia and North Carolina, he has a better than 80% chance of being reelected, no matter what happens, because the election is so predictable. Karl Rove on Fox News, and by the way, this is a message to Fox News, please stop your commentators and anchors from saying the words canary in a coal mine. There are no canaries on the ballot. You can't vote in a coal mine. I don't know why they're saying that over and over, but they are at Fox News. Please stop. Rove says that New Hampshire, because of the strong showing of Kelly Ayotte for governor, is going to be very close. He wouldn't hedge on a prediction, but if that's the case, then it's going to be a long night for Kamala Harris.
But listen, you know what they're doing. I mean, you can argue with their style, but this race is close, and people are looking for indications of outcome. And they're looking at New Hampshire as some kind of laboratory that if Trump can make it close there, then who knows where else it is close. I heard the same thing about urban turnout. I then heard 3-4 hours later that it wasn't so, that at least in Pennsylvania, around Philadelphia and Detroit in Michigan, that the turnout had then become robust, and they're happy with the numbers there now.
Okay, and that could absolutely, listen, I don't depend on political campaigns to tell the truth.
Yeah, they're in spin mode.
I'm not disparaging them, but they're in the business to throw out stuff. And this was early in the day. But what's interesting to me is that I haven't heard one word, and I tried today, Cuomo, to get something out of the Kamala Harris campaign. Nothing. Crickets. You guys get anything?
Yeah, I'll tell you what I got that I think is interesting. Trump outsourced the ground game, right, which was really interesting, and there are a lot of interesting private outfits that are involved for him. The Democrats were much more confident about what they were doing, which I thought was surprising to me because Harris had to inherit the Biden apparatus, right? There was a lot of talk today that they had found the secret sauce in Pennsylvania, in Michigan, in as much as they were able to get good penetration into communities where they were seeing changes of votes. Now, you know from covering it forever, and I know from going out there and knocking on the doors in campaigns, it is rare that someone answers the door and just doesn't tell you what they need to do to get you out of there. You know, they don't have a lot of conversations. The Democrats said the way they had done the apparatus with what they call local community validators, people who come from communities that the people you're knocking on the doors know, that they had had good success with that in key places in Pennsylvania and Michigan. We'll see what it means to the result.
It doesn't mean anything, Cuomo. Don't worry about it. What means something is exit polling. Chris Wallace, our ex-colleague at Fox, works for CNN now.
Yep.
He cited an exit poll done by CNN that said 43% of people who have cast ballots. Remember, you can only ask people after they vote in an exit poll. 43% said they are dissatisfied with the country as it is now. And Wallace extrapolated that number to say that is doom. He didn't use the word doom. I think he used the word canary. No, he didn't.
He didn't say that.
He extrapolated the numbers, and that was bad news for Kamala Harris.
Yeah, listen, you and I have discussed this a lot. A grievance election is tough for the incumbent to win. You know, you're the historian. People usually get a second term, but when they don't, it is often because of an overwhelming, let's look at 1976, experience of grievance. That would be suggestive of a Trump victory unless he as a person overrides the grievance calculus. And I think that's what Corey Lewandowski was getting
nobody
at.
Can. And nobody can. Look, the first campaign I covered was Grover Cleveland, first time around. I think I was there. So Cleveland is the only guy who accomplished what Trump wants to accomplish.
Right.
So he was there. He loses to Benjamin Harrison, who was almost as dim as Joe Biden. And then the Americans said, we actually elected this guy, Benjamin Harrison. So they put Grover back because they had nobody else, and Grover comes back. All right? That's what Trump is trying to duplicate.
Did you get what
they
just told us?
Do.
Hold on, Bill. You're going to want to hear this. So why is Trump calling into radio shows right now? Here's why. We're getting reports out of Pennsylvania that they have had ballot scanning software issues in 2 Pennsylvania counties that Trump had won by double digits. They're having to wait. People are leaving the lines.
Yeah, he's calling to tell people
they don't
to
want
stay
to wait.
in line.
He is calling to say stay in line.
Hey, Bill, I want to give you credit because you were the guy, and I think it was I who asked you on my show back in December of 2023, will it be Trump-Biden? And you said, no, Biden's going to drop out. That was December 2023. It is stunning to me that in an hour and now 10 minutes of coverage, Joe Biden's name, the president of the United States, who is, I think, at the White House watching returns, his name has not come up until Bill O'Reilly said it. Bill, you have been extraordinarily critical of President Biden. If Kamala Harris is elected, is that not vindication for him?
No, he's still going to go down as the second worst president in history. It's just a vilification of Donald Trump if Harris wins. It's the same vote that it was 4 years ago, either pro-Trump or against Trump. All right, Kamala Harris made no inroads anywhere with anybody because she couldn't answer a question. She has no well-defined policies. We don't know what she'll do in Ukraine. We don't know what she'll do in Gaza, how to bring down inflation. She's going to stop price gouging, but she doesn't explain how. She doesn't care about the border, in my opinion. So anybody voting for her and thinks that she's a policy genius is a moron. So it's, again, whether they want, the American people, we, the American people, to entrust power to Donald Trump. And that's what the election is all about.
Big Bill, please come back if you want at any time tonight. We're going to jump right now, but I appreciate your perspective as always.